Being in an accident is stressful, but what's even worse is when you send your car to the mechanic and he hasn't fixed it in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 50 weeks. Dude, where's my car? We're going to find out about it on this next call. What is the legal issue that you're dealing with?
So 2 winters ago, so we're going to get into statute of limitations here in a minute, but
Who's the lawyer?
Who's the lawyer? That's
Who's
right.
the lawyer?
I will stay in my
Frodo's the
lane.
lawyer. He represents me. All right, it's fine.
Eventually,
I
we're
will
going to have a lawyer troll us and call in, but this is not today. This is not
true.
today.
You're
Okay,
right.
what's going on?
Well, I'll stay in the Shire in the meantime.
right.
So I had an accident. Selected a mechanic after reviewing the options that were available, and it was winter and everybody was backed up. And now this is winter of 22. I was still hearing lots of rumblings around about supply chain disruptions also causing a problem with part acquisition and further delaying the backlog of vehicles that were coming into shops. So I had that context when I made the choice that I did, choosing the mechanic that I did. I got my truck back 50 weeks later.
50?
50.
Like 50 cent.
50 cent
Wow.
on a diss track.
Did they? So what did you do in the meantime? What were you driving in the 50 weeks?
Beg, borrowing, and stealing as much as I could. But more specifically, family and friends would lend me vehicles when they weren't using them. In between which, I took copious amounts of Ubers, and I would rent cars from the airport. One of the dealers or vendors there, or through a car sharing program called Turo. I spread it out, but incurred an estimated $7,000 to $10,000 worth of transportation expenses during that time, while continuing to pay on my truck, being abandoned by my insurance claims adjuster and being held hostage by a garage.
So this car accident, was this your fault or was it the other guy's?
I'm going to claim responsibility for it. There was never that. Got lost in the mix based on the higher priority of trying to figure out whether or not I was being scammed.
And did
by both parties.
Did your insurance provider cover a certain period of time for rentals? Like
No.
The first 2 weeks? No, not at all.
No, in fact, and when things came to a head with the attorney general, I'll get to that point, but I was accused of being ridiculous, suggesting as much with the garage, when I realized my insurance did not have that coverage for a rental, and was terribly surprised to discover that I had elected for a policy that did not provide me that.
Is there any question about whether you did or you didn't? Like, are you concerned that you did select it and that maybe there's some hanky-panky on the paperwork, or you're just not sure one way or the other?
That's the first thing I said to my claims adjuster when they told me that I did not have rental coverage. I said, well, why would I willfully choose not to have that to save a few dollars? I said, I've never not. So if this was an opt-in, not an opt-out, you guys missed a great upsell opportunity.
My concern is with the mechanic. Please tell me he was not Mexican. Okay, because usually my people come through on the mechanical stuff.
Wait. My father-in-law's Mexican. He's working on my car right now.
Okay, you better double check and make sure everything's fine on your shit on your end.
Right now?
Yeah. So
look out the window and make sure. But nonetheless,
the guy, your mechanic that you reached out to, who's been obviously on delay, what's his nationality?
White is
it matters.
So
it matters
does.
because that is not a Mexican thing to do, to just take somebody's ride for 50 weeks. I'm just telling you right now.
I agree.
Well,
So
you're gonna love this story,
Okay.
because it was a Latina that bailed me out.
okay.
Wow, unsuspecting Latina hero. All right, my wife is now interested.
So
Go.
good. No, the story ends well in that way.
Okay.
When you say bailed you out, you didn't go to jail. This wasn't like a DUI, right?
Figurative speech. I realize I'm
He
talking
said
to
he's
lawyers.
not the lawyer.
I don't know.
We established that in the first 5 seconds.
He's throwing a lot in.
I like it. This guy watched Law and Order. All right. So hold on. I like where Manny's taking this. What happened with the mechanic?
Yeah,
I
I'm
wanna
worried about
hear
the mechanic.
this
All right.
Latina hero.
So my fellow Caucasian who said he wanted my business and took me into his garage, kicked the can down the road with lots of excuses that he either gave me or his son gave me. And it was very much a Charlie and Lucy Brown kind of thing with the football. And they would say, we're 8 weeks out to start. And then like that became it's going to take another 2 weeks over and over again. And when I tried to contest it, he got extremely angry. Obviously the truck was undrivable, and so it was stuck. And I could not, after a couple months of nothing really moving and me feeling as though I'd chosen poorly, I started calling around.
What did the mechanic say to you when he blew up in your face?
Oh, when he blew up in my face, it was in July, 5 months after the accident, when I suggested that they put me in a loaner or a rental car because I'm at the end of my options. And that was the first personality disorder display that I got to see.
Are you also a psychologist? Like, this is incredible.
I love it.
I am.
I'm just glad Dude wasn't Mexican, so I feel good right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
it was white extortion at its best, so we're good. Okay,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm moving to Juarez next week, in case that tells you anything.
Yeah. So wait, what did he say? You can say. I want quotes here. I want you to say
What's
in
the quotes?
all the white man rage.
In all the white man rage, how dare you suggest something so stupid as that it's my responsibility to put you in a vehicle? I have told you over and over, I will get your truck fixed as soon as I am able. I am not yet able. And you have two choices. You can be patient and trust me, or you can come and get it and do whatever the hell you want.
That sounds like a white guy thing.
Yeah, that's white thing.
Yeah.
So white.
What? Welcome to the.
I'm sorry I had to go race, but I just had to. I have plenty of family members that are mechanics, and that doesn't sound something like they would do.
Welcome to the Barely Legal
Show,
Race War Edition. I'm totally comfortable as the mostly white kind of.
Wait. Does the voice that you just heard, does that sound like your mechanic? Okay, no. Okay.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting triggered.
How much damage was there to this vehicle? Because was it like the whole engine that you needed a new? Well, okay. What were you waiting on? Was it a part? Was it somebody that knew what they were? What were the excuses he was giving?
It was a shell game. It was like, we're waiting on these parts, couldn't source them. Now I've found another. I'm looking for a vendor who can. I had to jockey your truck in position with relative to others that when a bay opens up, I only have 2 bays, and that means once I put a vehicle in there,
I think
it
parts
stays
are
in there
easy
until
to
it's
get now. I mean, you can find wives on eBay. They're up for bid all the time. Like, how can you not find a part for a vehicle? I mean,
right.
So this guy was just definitely giving you the runaround.
Yeah,
this totally giving me the runaround.
This actually like legitimately scares me because I know nothing about cars. Like,
even if you don't know anything about cars, I mean, the most they can put you off like for a vehicle being damaged is definitely not this amount of time this poor gentleman is enduring. It's just ridiculous.
I just feel like I would be taken advantage of. They'd be like, "We're waiting on a carburetor," and then I would be like, "And that does take time." I don't know. I don't know anything about cars. Like, they just name something.
Not just that, but when it comes to parts, think about it. I mean, people get stuff shipped overnight every single day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it be something on Amazon or whatever. So for this poor gentleman just to begin the runaround on parts and just whatever.
Yeah.
What was the total length that you didn't have the car for?
50 weeks?
50 weeks.
50
Man.
That includes my Mi Salvador Mecanico as well.
Wow.
so that, she had it for upwards of a month while we got things settled out, and primarily she was waiting on administrative backlog with the insurance. So let's go back.
Did you fall in love over car parts with your Latina repair lady?
With my Latina Mechanica? Yeah, definitely. According to my Google review of their shop, evidently I did fall in love with it.
So you switched mechanics
after 50 weeks.
Yeah. So here's the timeline. All right. You got 2 parties that were not taking care of me: insurance company and a mechanic. Right.
Okay.
And once I got the thing situated shortly after the accident, I let the claims adjuster and the mechanic do all the things that they needed to do with each other. And then I kept checking in with the mechanic in the spring. And once I started to get suspicious that I was being bullshitted, I reached out to the insurance provider several times, no response. And then I started climbing up the ladder, looking for somebody there that could help me. And what I felt like I discovered is that they outsourced their claims adjusting to a third party. And my case slipped through the cracks, and I just went unattended to for weeks and weeks on end, spring into summer.
A claim should last a year, if I'm not mistaken, right? With most of these insurance companies.
Where are you based out of?
Indianapolis.
I think a claim. I mean, I'm going through a claim right now, but that's another story for another time. But I think it's a year.
At least it's minimum. It's
minimum,
gonna vary depending on where you are.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Standard's pretty much a year.
The research I'm looking at here says we're looking at potentially a loss of use claim.
Correct.
Yes.
So so if we're just kind of a little bit of, for the folks at home as well as for you, Frodo, couple of things. Let's go back to that initial question about the selection of coverage. There, it does not make any sense that you wouldn't choose it, because most people do. However, being able to show that you did choose it is going to come down to if you have something that's some paper, some receipts, something, which you probably don't, that shows you chose the coverage and you didn't. That's a very clear violation of your insurance agreement. But let's say you don't have it and they're saying, hey, we're not going to cover that expense. The problem here, loss of use, is going to be a claim that's exacerbated by two things. One, the insurance carrier not allowing you or trying to get you to not move it to another mechanic, which you're allowed to. Your Latina Mechanica was always available if you were allowed to move over, but you were getting pressured not to do so. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a long-standing relationship between the mechanic that you hate, your great white antichrist, versus... Sorry,
the Latina Mechanica sounds like a novela.
I know.
This week on Latina Mechanica.
Frodo Baggins and the Latina Mechanica. Short love meets tall woman. Yeah.
Hey, so dibs on pitching that show concept to Netflix.
It's all yours, bro. It's all yours.
Well, I don't know. We might have to go over some law litigations on that.
Look, Manny's gonna play. Manny's gonna play the Latina Mechanica. He's gonna put the wig on. It's gonna be amazing.
No, I'm not selling out. I'm not putting on any wigs or any makeup. But thank you.
I want Sofia Vergara. That's what
I think everybody wants her.
Yeah.
Perhaps, but since I haven't seen Manny's face yet, who's to say I'm not going to write a glowing Google review for him too?
Oh, yeah. Well, things white people do. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's right.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Dude, he's going to leave you a 6% tip.
6%.
Very white.
So we have a problem with the insurance company's relationship.
We do.
With the, yeah.
So their relationship might have been in the problem, but ultimately what you're really looking at beyond the actual damages is the insurance. Did they pay for the expense at your Latina Mechanica?
So get this. When I got on my high horse and started to go into raise everything to the ground mode in the fall, it all started with me having the suspicion based on the tone of the person that was employed by the insurance company and the way he was explaining who he got involved to remedy the situation. There was some obvious anxiety there. They knew that they had dropped the ball. And so
it's been 50 weeks.
Yeah. I still
that's a lot of holidays. There's some holidays mixed in there already.
Right.
Talking about
I've still got the upholstery burns on both my knees and elsewhere.
Man.
But the insurance company gets involved. They assign me to a new third-party claims adjuster. She's awful. But I just blew up her phone every day, and I'm like, this is what we're doing. We're getting my truck back. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what that shook out to, when they encouraged me to find some mechanic that would listen to my story and take me in after a dozen said no, I find the female minority-owned garage with a stellar rating online and have a conversation with her and tell her the story. And she says, you know what? It's the end of the year. This is into December leading into the holidays. We've got a couple windows with some flexibility. If we can get all the financial part of it ironed out, we'll do the job. And with lots of badgering, I got the insurance company to do a double payment, I think is the term. So they had done an initial disbursement of funds to Garage A, which bought stuff with it. Perhaps whether it was for my truck or someone else's is left to be is still unforeseen. But once I got the plan in place, I called a wrecker, had them just drive to the mechanic shop. I told them to throw all the parts that they'd procured in the bed of the truck, and they hauled it to the new mechanic.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And a couple weeks later, I had my truck back. But it took a while. I had to file a letter with the Indiana Attorney General per the request of the insurance provider.
Against Mechanic A?
Against the business, correct?
Yeah, right.
I've done nothing of the sort for the insurance company, mind you, except for having conversations with lawyers like I've done with you, doing with you right now. And she got paid. She got paid, and I got my truck back, but it took almost a year.
So now that you've gotten the car back, your truck back, excellent. Now that your Latina Mechanica has been paid, you still have the $6,000 of all that money you had to spend, plus all the time you were without your vehicle.
Right.
What is the insurance company saying now?
Haven't spoken to them since the case was closed.
Okay.
And then I switched providers as soon as it was.
Gotcha.
So I have been honestly, this was just, the last straw for me, incident wise, relative to everything that everybody on this call has contended with in the last 5 years.
Right. Right.
And, I started reaching out to lawyers once I knew I was going to get my truck back, thinking I was going to file a suit against both parties. I was completely dismayed at how many people said no. And
what they say? They just say no. Why'd they say no?
This is not. They said we don't, over and over again. We don't deal with this. We deal with this specialty in law.
Yeah.
Which I can respect that to a degree, but like, tell me you've got somebody that you can refer me to, right, that you think would recognize some opportunity here for me to balance the scales.
I've got some advice. You want
No,
me
you
to
go first. You go first. I want to hear it. Go.
Here's what I'm going to do, and I'm the least lawyerly lawyer that you're going to have on this show. I think my starting position is going to be that you are going to contact your insurance provider, and you're going to be like, hey, I was out 50 weeks. I talked to some lawyers. They think this was heinous. No one thinks that this is appropriate. I'm out $7,000, $6,000, whatever it is. I have receipts for it. I just want you to refund my transportation costs, and we'll call this whole thing settled. I'll sign off on any claims I have. I think that's the first thing that you're going to do. You write that down in bullet points, get it really tight. You call yourself. Insurance companies, if they think they have any liability on this, they may be. I'm not going to say that's guaranteed going to work, but if you call firmly, that's where I'm going to start.
And can I jump in on that?
Please.
Okay. So in that, timeline's very important. There's a fair amount of extraneous details here that are relevant to a story if you were in front of a jury, but aren't going to be relevant to an insurance carrier.
Yep.
So you want to keep your timeline very clear, keep that very straight. Attach your receipts, have a calculation of where they are, put that in the timeline as well, and then ultimately, again, why it took all this and that you had to do all the work to get it. It's a different story if they're like, hey, look, this mechanic sucks, like they are not responding to us, we're doing everything we can, versus what really happened here, which is that you did all the work, right? So laying out that the insurance carrier failed, and then did the barest minimum for your Latina Mechanica.
It's going to cost them north of $5,000 just to defend if you do sue for this. So like there's a number here that makes sense for them to settle. That's your first move. Your second move, if you go down that path and the insurance company is like, we got lawyers that eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast, we're not going to do anything. Okay, great. Hold off. Second move, I would take the mechanic to small claims court.
Because small claims is up to 10,000, right?
Depends on the jurisdiction. This is Indiana.
It could be 10. It could be 20. Right. So let me push back on that as step 2.
It's
I might adjust it, Frodo, to step 3. Here's step 2. Why? Because the mechanic has it. Your claim is either going to have to be something like fraud or breach of contract, but you didn't have an agreement. Maybe did they promise you how long it was going to take, or did they just give you an estimate about how long it would take?
Verbally, over and over again, he gave me, it'll be done by this day.
Okay.
And I said, I'm calling you the day before.
Okay. So
I'm expecting you to call me. Like I've got all that. I even was when things were heated of mind hit record on my phone, or my computer while I was talking to him on the phone on speakerphone, and he said something to the effect, I'm sure I've got the clip buried somewhere. Hey, I can cut this truck up into pieces if you like, and you can just come get the pieces.
Whoa. Wow. Okay, that's the kind of stuff you're going to want to put in your letter first, because that's a great quote about how this is being handled, and even knowing that the insurance company didn't move it. If you do go to court, it would be more of a fraud claim or a Consumer Deceptive Trade Practices Act, Indiana Statute Chapter 24. It outlines it. There's some real great resources online we can send you about that. But let me modify with the interim option 2. Okay. There are some motherfucking bulldogs at the Indiana Department of Insurance, and they have a hotline where they sit behind it salivating, waiting for consumers to call in so that they can go nuts on insurance carriers who do exactly what your insurance carrier did here. We're going to send you the address, the fax number, and the phone number along with the website and some of the instructions that they give you for their complaint portal. And I know that they are excited. They have agents. They have their independent authority. And because when you lay all of this, here's how this works, right? Why I agree with the letter first. You don't want to have to do it twice.
Yep.
So you lay it all out and you go, I'm trying to resolve this, carrier. And then when they don't, you go, hey, if you don't resolve this, I'm going to send it to the Indiana Department of Insurance, and then you don't give them a third chance. Third chance, you copy them when you send it to the Indiana Department of Insurance. And then you let those bulldogs do it. And frankly, you're paying taxes already, probably. So
Right.
you might as well get your dollar's worth.
Bill's
I'm also
answer-
going to tell my lawyer friends here to send you pictures of scooters. We want you in a scooter now.
Let's
After
upgrade.
all this drama with the truck. I don't want you to ever see a truck again for a long time.
Agreed.
We want you to have a scooter.
love that.
Because if you get in any drama with a scooter, I mean, look, we just fix a tire, bam, and you're good.
Or just
You
buy
go-
another
just-
scooter.
Just buy 2 scooters now,
If you're
please.
buying and begging and stealing, it's way easier to steal a scooter. Let's be real.
All right, so Frodo, to recap, number 1, you're gonna contact the insurance provider. Number 2, everything that Bill said.
Indiana Department of
I like that
Insurance
hotline you're
complaint
telling me
line.
about.
I like that a lot. It's
I
why-
feel like calling them. Just
yeah.
Let's go.
let's just go.
Number 3, small claims court for the mechanic. Do you feel heard today, Frodo?
Extremely. This is substantially more intel than I received scratching around like it's as hard as I did. And I promise you, I did the due diligence that I could as a non-expert. And this is the most clear advice that I've received.
Well, it's been 50 weeks since you lost your truck, but we're happy that we were able to help you today, okay?
Yeah, it's 2 more weeks and I won't give a fuck. Sounds great to me.
All right, brother. Good luck with your quest.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, good
Thanks,
luck with your
Frodo.
quest to destroy the ring. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Likewise to each of you.
Thoughts on that call, Manny?
I think dude had way too much fucking patience.
Yeah.
By the way, in my world, if I don't get a call back or anything happening within like I don't know 8 days, I guess, bitch, it's on.
I know you're rolling down there. You're
Yeah.
sitting in the place.
I mean, can you
you're like-
imagine? Can you imagine? I mean, because I got friends that they love me and everything, but like, yo, motherfucker, if I gotta lend you my vehicle one more time, no, I got shit to do.
I think that this mechanic is at least underwater. I feel like he was using money from one car to pay off
Big
the
time.
last
So
car.
obviously,
Yeah.
this is kind of like a. He wasn't the first time. This wasn't the
Ponzi
first
scheme.
that got swindled, or the last for him to say, how do you have the nerve? Like, bitch, you've had my vehicle for 5 months. Like, you know what I mean? That's just the
crazy.
world I live in. I'm too street where it's like we don't play that shit. Like, man, I want results now.
Yeah.
And it sucks that people prey on people's kindness sometimes. This guy really comes off like a really nice guy.
So nice.
And good guys fucking
Yeah.
finish last. I don't give a fuck
Yep.
what anybody says. And it sucks, but they preyed on his kindness. And he's not the first person to be handled like this, obviously.
No,
You can
this,
tell.
This is clearly a serial way that
Right.
they've done it. They didn't seem embarrassed. They didn't seem
No.
ashamed of it.
50 weeks? I
50
mean,
weeks.
that's-
And exacerbated by the insurance carrier, right? Like,
Yeah.
look, you guys have the money and you do get to choose the mechanic in Indiana, right? So, and under that policy, most likely he could choose where he want to go. So it was a combination of his kindness and
Right.
the apathy of the insurance agency and the fraudulent behavior of the mechanic. It was a bad situation.
What is the worst story that you have about a mechanic? We want to hear about it. Like, subscribe, get in the comments section, and we'll help you get the justice you deserve. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're going to be here for you when you need that cheap date.